Hey everybody, it's Mike Young and Denise. I'm a lifestyle nutritionist. We're doing our review and comment on the plant-based news. And something I was thinking about recently, see I got my plant-based diet shirt on. Well anyway, something I was thinking about recently is type 2 diabetes and the fact that I look around, I talk about this in my book, Live to 150. I can kind of tell what people have going on just by looking at them. And of course, watching what they eat too, and even stuff with our healthy vegan food, our certified healthy vegan food. Check it out at healthyveganfood.info. But the workarounds people try to do to get around that, because we don't allow any added oil or anything with added oil in it. But usually the workarounds are people put lots of fat in. And even you were talking to Denise recently about how do we have that 20% or less calories from fat in the standard? No, because it's only a mid-range standard. And even that, most foods and most restaurants and places can't even do that, but send them our way and we'll get them certified. But we got an article today on type 2 diabetes. I want to get to the bottom, get the lowdown on type 2 diabetes. So we're going to the Cleveland Clinic and we're going to read about what they have to say about it. So what's this one called?
Type 2 diabetes. If you have type 2 diabetes, your body's cells can't properly take up sugar or glucose from the foods you eat. If left untreated, type 2 diabetes can cause such health problems as heart disease, kidney disease, and stroke. You can manage this disease by making lifestyle changes, taking medications and or insulin, and seeing your provider for regular check-ins. What is type 2 diabetes? Type 2 diabetes is a disease where your body can't use energy from food properly.
Helicopter.
Your pancreas produces insulin, a hormone, to help your cells use glucose. But over time, your pancreas makes less insulin and the cells resist the insulin. This causes too much sugar to build up in your blood.
Let's take a pause. All right, so your cells are supposed to take up the sugar that's in your blood and use it, glucose, as energy, right? That's how your body works.
Yes.
So what happens is your cells stop the ability for themselves to take up the glucose because of what's called, and this article doesn't say it right now, I don't know if they will, insulin resistance. So your cells develop insulin resistance internally. So the only way the body knows to react to that is for the pancreas to kick in overdrive, making insulin, or you inject yourself with insulin or something else that the doctor gives you, right? Or a combination of that. And the body always wants to heal, so it's going to try, right? It can't stop you from eating the things that are causing this insulin resistance. But that's the whole idea behind it. So comment if you want to know more about that or any thoughts on that. But what this article isn't saying right now, and I have a feeling it may not ever say, because I'm finding when I search this online, I am not getting a straight answer from people. They don't want to come out and tell you the truth, which is you're eating, like you said, Denise, too high of a percentage of calories from fat. And when you do that, it screws up your cells internally. They become insulin resistant. It kicks your pancreas into overdrive. People have pancreatic cancer, you have all kinds of other things. Of course, you develop type 2 diabetes, so basically your body's starving from the inside. It can't even get the energy it needs to run, okay? Now, why? What's the root cause of this? I think it's too much fat circulating through your body because you're eating food-like products, right? Or eating high doses of high-fat plant foods or animal products or whatever the foods are. And it's clogging your cells up and screwing them up. Anyway, let's keep going with the article.
This causes too much sugar to build up in your blood. High blood sugar levels from type 2 diabetes can lead to serious health problems, including heart disease, stroke, or death. Type 1 versus type 2, what's the difference? Type 2 is not the same as type 1. Type 1 diabetes, your pancreas doesn't make any insulin. In type 2, your pancreas doesn't make enough insulin, and the insulin it is making doesn't always work as it should.
Okay, well, let's just pause again. There's some thought, originally the school of thought was there's nothing you can do about type 1 diabetes. Because like Denise said, your pancreas is not making insulin. Now, why? We don't know exactly why. But I will tell you that as research has been more thorough over recent years, they found that by eating the right foods, you can actually improve type 1 diabetes. It is possible. This is like more cutting edge and new. And then for type 2 diabetes, what was that last thing you said about type 2? The last part of what you just said?
It means your insulin that your pancreas does make doesn't always work as it should.
Okay, that is not the root cause though. It's interesting that they say, because the root cause is that you're eating too many high-fat foods, which is causing insulin resistance in your cells. And this is a Cleveland Clinic writing this article. And because of the insulin resistance, they can't uptake the sugar that's in your blood system. The pancreas is like an emergency valve, I'd say, in a way, right? You don't necessarily need insulin to be injected into your bloodstream if your cells are functioning properly and you're able to take in the glucose as they should.
Yeah.
So the root cause is the high-fat foods. But again, they're not mentioning it, and this is a little scary that we're reading this and they don't mention that.
Well, they're just explaining what it is. They're not talking about prevention.
Okay, well, they will, right?
I don't know. I didn't read it yet.
All right.
Type 2 diabetes usually affects older adults, though it's becoming more common in children. Type 1 diabetes usually develops in children or young adults, but people of any age can get it. Who's at risk of developing type 2 diabetes? You're more likely to develop type 2 diabetes if you're Black, Hispanic, American, Indian, Asian, Pacific Islander, older than 45, have overweight or obesity, don't exercise, had gastrointestinal gestational diabetes while pregnant, have had a family history of diabetes, have high blood pressure, have prediabetes, higher than normal blood sugar, though not enough to be type 2 diabetes.
Okay, we're getting our daily aerobic exercise, thankfully, and I talk about it in the longevity habits in Live to 150 at liveto150.org. I just want to mention that. But there's all kinds of things, like Denise just read, that could cause this thing. And it's usually just you got bad habits. That's what's causing it, okay? All these things are bad habits, most of them. And even type 1, they say it develops during childhood. If it develops, well, something's happened between, I don't know, the time you were conceived and that time when you developed it, right?
Well,
that maybe could.
We've read about a causation of that is from giving children cow's milk when they're too young.
Yeah, so it'll just shut down. And it's like your human body's like, wait a minute, why are you giving me cow milk? I'm a human. I think, yeah, don't you think the body's smart enough to recognize you've done something wrong? Probably, and it's probably going to shut down because it's like, what the hell are you doing? So all this kind of makes sense to me.
So type 2 diabetes is the most common form of diabetes, and about 1 in 10 Americans have the disease. It's the 7th leading cause of death in the United States.
Whoa, cause of death.
Causes it. Type 2 diabetes develops when the pancreas makes less insulin than the body needs, and the body's cells stop responding to insulin. They don't take in sugar as they should. Sugar builds up in your blood. When cells don't respond to insulin, this is caused by insulin resistance. It's usually caused by lifestyle factors, including obesity and a lack of exercise.
Okay, let's also pause for a minute. Sugar in the blood. A lot of people thought that you were eating too much candy, and that's why you got type 2 diabetes. It might be if you're eating high fat, like milk chocolate, okay? But that's because of the fat, not because of the sugar.
Yeah, it's not from eating peppermint candy.
Yeah, and even so, that sugar is not beneficial. It's not because of eating, let's say, whole plant fruit sugar. It's definitely not from that either. And in most cases, most fruits have very low fat, unless you're talking about durian or something like that. So they're not going to cause type 2 diabetes. Yeah. So again, the cause is fat, too high of a percentage of calories from fat. And again, the Cleveland Clinic doesn't even mention it, not even at this point in time in reading this article. Yeah.
So the second causation says genetics or abnormal cells, abnormal genes that prevent cells from working as they
I'm
should.
abnormal. I think everyone would agree that knows me. Does that mean I'm getting type 2 diabetes?
No. What are the symptoms of type 2 diabetes? They tend to develop slowly over time. They can include blurred vision, fatigue, feeling hungry or thirsty, increased need to urinate, usually at night, slow healing of cuts or sores, tingling or numbness in your hands or feet, and unexplained weight loss. I think that's one of the least popular.
Unexplained, damn.
Yeah.
I think most people who would get type 2 diabetes, if you're getting it from too high of a percentage of calories from fat to your diet, would welcome the weight loss. Maybe that's the body saying, hey, you don't need to eat this much anymore. Please stop eating. If you're gonna eat that crap, eat something better.
What are the complications of high blood sugar levels? Potential complications include digestive problems, including gastroparesis, I don't even know what that is.
No, I don't know
Eye
either.
problems, including diabetes-related retinopathy. Foot problems, including leg and foot ulcers, gum disease and other mouth problems, hearing loss, heart disease, kidney disease, liver problems, including non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Yeah.
So it's just from eating too much fat, your liver starts to shut down, basically.
Yeah. Peripheral neuropathy or nerve damage. Sexual dysfunction, skin conditions, stroke, urinary tract infections, and bladder infections.
And a lot of this too, it has to do with your visceral fat. You know what visceral fat is? It's the fat around your organs and your midsection. And just the fact that you have a lot of visceral fat means that you're eating way too much fat in your diet. And of course, this is all related to developing type 2 diabetes like we're talking about.
Yeah. Rarely, type 2 diabetes leads to a condition called diabetes-related ketoacidosis, or DKA. DKA is a life-threatening condition that causes your blood to become acidic. People with type 1 diabetes are more likely to have DKA. But isn't that what happens when you go on the keto diet?
Yeah, well, you're eating a lot of acid, high acid foods, which is, almost all animal products are acid forming. There are plenty of there's enough of the wrong ones that people take that are acid forming that are plants. Hopefully you're not doing that, like coffee and oatmeal and things like that, and anything white like breads, I think.
So
but
how is it diagnosed? Fasting plasma glucose test, or a random plasma glucose test, or testing your A1C. That's your average blood sugar level over 3 months. Or there's oral glucose tolerance testing. How is it managed?
All right, management. What do you do when you get to type 2 diabetes? Now, this is probably you're going to your MD, right? We've talked about this recently, you and I, Denise.
Yeah.
Like the difference between a DO and an MD. DOs usually approach stuff differently. Anybody who's not an allopathic doctor will, but most people go to allopathic doctors. What do they say here?
Manage your blood sugar either through oral medication, pills, or
let's say something right now. Manage your blood sugar. So is this dealing with the root cause?
Not at all.
And this is a Cleveland clinic, okay? This is scary. Yeah.
Blood pressure. Lower your blood pressure by not smoking, exercising regularly, and eating a healthy diet. Your healthcare provider may recommend blood pressure medications such as beta blockers or ACE inhibitors.
I don't know what those are, and I hope they never will.
Well, good thing it doesn't tell you to consult your healthcare provider about changing your diet.
It doesn't? Why not? That's what it should be saying, shouldn't it?
Because the healthcare providers usually tell you to eat chicken.
It should say, give Mike Young a call, 240-205-0417. Just give him a text. Forever Young Nutrition Coaching. That lifestyle nutritionist will set you straight.
Cholesterol. Follow a meal plan low in saturated fats, trans fats, salt, and sugar. Your healthcare provider may recommend statins, which are a type of drug to lower cholesterol. Gosh. That just makes your numbers look better.
That's for more cardiovascular disease. Type 2 diabetes, I don't consider a cardiovascular disease, but I guess if it deals with the blood flowing through, maybe it is. It's not necessarily going to cause I guess it could cause, like they said, a heart attack or stroke, but the main issues that you have with type 2 diabetes are other things, I think.
By the way, to follow a meal plan low in saturated fats, if you want to...
It says that.
Yeah, it does.
Good.
But here's what it doesn't say. This is implied, but most people are not going to see this. If you want to be below 20% in saturated fat, you cannot be on an animal-based diet. There is too much saturated fat.
Well, you know what most people also say when they hear saturated fat? They're like, oh yeah, that was debunked. That's that's not true. I don't know. That's not true. Don't want to follow that. They think that they hear that saturated fat because people were saying that they were all afraid of saturated fat, and you should be actually, because it's the worst kind of all the fats, or any kind of form of saturated fat. But the unsaturated fats are better for you. I think saturated and unsaturated means it's at room temperature. It is a solid, right? Or is that right?
Saturated fat?
Yes. Actually, no, at your body temperature, it's a solid, right? It's solid at a lower temperature, is what it is, if it's saturated. That's why it does more damage.
Like Crisco?
Yeah. Yes.
It's solid at a room temperature. So what should a type 2 diabetes meal plan include? Ask your healthcare provider or a nutritionist to recommend a meal plan that's right for you. In general,
So they're not going to say anything.
Oh, yeah, they are. In general, a type 2 diabetes meal plan should include, number 1, lean proteins. Proteins low in saturated fats include chicken, eggs, and seafood. Don't
Lean
listen to
proteins.
That is not right.
Okay, so well, at least they're saying lean proteins.
Well, yeah, it doesn't mention red meat. That's good.
But lean proteins is it.
But
They should
chicken's
not be
not
telling.
lean.
Right. This is like the American Cancer Society having red meat dishes on their, and they do.
On their website.
I mean, they just do.
That
But
was a hard association.
I just thought the Cleveland Clinic would be better.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they do say plant-based proteins include tofu, nuts, and beans.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, those are very lean.
Number 2, minimally...
Well, actually, tofu is not necessarily lean. It's not, actually. But compared to animal products,
Yeah,
it is.
it is. Chicken is
Yeah.
30% fat.
Yeah.
They lie on the label to
They
make
lie?
it look like it's low in saturated fat.
Okay.
Just like 2% milk doesn't exist.
Okay, yeah.
Whole milk is like... never mind. You have to take a class on label reading to understand all that.
Well, the bottom line here is type 2 diabetes is caused, like you said yesterday, by eating too high of a percentage of calories from fat. So you've got to lean out. You know, if you wonder why if you hear us talking about eating raw, vegan, raw plants, organic plants, fruits, it's because they're all lean. Have we seen any type 2 diabetics at the fruit communities?
No, number 1, not even type 1. I
Yeah.
have 4 more diet guidelines.
Okay.
Number 2, minimally processed carbohydrates. Refined carbs like white bread, pasta, and potatoes can cause your blood sugar to increase quickly. Choose carbs that cause
Potatoes are a refined carb?
That's what it's saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. Okay. The division should be, is it a food-like product or is it food as grown? Because if it's a food-like product, it's a processed carb. If it's food as grown, it's like a whole plant. It's like the actual complete, the complete carbohydrate, right?
Yeah.
So there's a major difference there. You should eat the whole plants.
I believe I have heard that white potatoes cause a more rapid increase in blood sugar
Oh, they do?
than other vegetables.
Okay, well, so then I guess they're higher on the glycemic index. It's like white rice versus brown rice, right? Okay.
Choose carbs that cause a more gradual blood sugar increase, such
there you
as
go,
whole
glycemic.
grains like oatmeal, brown rice, and whole grain pasta.
Okay, gotcha.
Number 3, no added salt. Too much sodium or salt can increase your blood pressure. Lower your sodium by avoiding processed foods like those that come in cans or packages.
Okay, now the blood pressure, I think it's more like a comorbidity type of a concept.
Yeah.
I don't think it's related at all to type 2 diabetes. I do think that people who have type 2 diabetes have so many bad habits that they're probably eating way too much salt, like everybody else, okay? So I don't think there's any other relationship other than that.
Choose salt-free spices and use healthy oils instead of salad dressing. Don't even use oil, folks. That's 100% fat.
Yeah, it is type 2 diabetes in a bottle.
Number 4, no added sugars. Avoid sugary foods and drinks such as pies, cakes, and soda. Choose water or
Now,
unsweetened
why are they
teas
saying
to
that?
drink.
See, they're kind of alluding to the fact that sugar causes type 2 diabetes.
I know, that's so old-fashioned.
I mean, processed sugar is bad for you.
Yeah.
There's no question. It's a processed version. It's not. It's a food-like product, not a plant, not a real food as grown. But it doesn't cause type 2 diabetes.
No, but it will spike your blood sugar.
And a lot of things with sugar too. Yeah, so it's going to be a quick, high glycemic index, and it's going to have a lot of calories in it probably, so you're going to gain weight.
Yeah.
These kind of things.
And number 5, non-starchy vegetables. These vegetables are lower in carbohydrates, so they don't cause blood sugar spikes. Examples include broccoli, carrots, and cauliflower.
Okay.
Will I need insulin for type 2 diabetes? It depends. It comes in injections, inhaled, or in pumps. How can I prevent type 2 diabetes?
How can I? This is the most important thing.
Number 1, eating a healthy diet.
Okay, but does it stipulate? Does it stipulate exactly what you should and should not be eating?
No.
That's
Number 2,
kind of I wonder why, huh?
Number 2, exercising.
Well, we're exercising. Yeah, get your
every day.
daily vigorous aerobic exercise every day, at least 30 minutes.
And number 3, losing weight.
Lose weight. How much? I must weigh a ton, right? Because I eat all the time.
not underweight. But
Are we just gonna go?
moisture.
Let's just go. We're crossing the street here. Hopefully we're gonna survive this walk across the street, right? And you can see where we are. There's a supercharger in there. We go there quite often. All right.
What's the outlook for type 2 diabetes? If you have type 2 diabetes, your outlook depends on how well you manage your blood glucose level.
Okay, and if you want to manage it well, what do you want to do? Do you want to manage symptoms, or do you want to go directly to the root cause and deal with that by changing your lifestyle? What do you think?
I address the root cause.
Okay, yeah, because managing symptoms is actually never going to solve the problem. It's never going to fix your condition.
So when should you call your doctor if you have confusion or memory loss?
Oh my gosh.
Fever over 100, high blood sugar for more than 24 hours, nausea and vomiting for more than 4 hours, problems with balance or coordination, severe pain anywhere in your body, or trouble moving your arms and legs.
That's bad. If you have any of that stuff, you probably have a lot more than just type 2 diabetes, but once you get type 2 diabetes, as they mentioned here in the article, it's like an avalanche of other medical problems.
Yeah.
Because as I talk about in my book, Live to 150, your body wants to heal, your body wants to remain in a state of balance, your body will complain. Some people more than others, like me. Mine's very fast, they'll complain. And your job is to figure out what's wrong and stop it. Because your body will never stop complaining, no matter how many pharmaceuticals you shove down your mouth. Your body will not stop complaining, even though they try to minimize the complaints. They cause all kinds of other issues in the process.
And those pharmaceuticals that make your numbers look good don't improve your overall health. In fact, they cause other complications. Like read the insert on your prescription about the risks.
Yeah, so did you finish the article? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
So the very end, the most important part was like truncated, and they didn't even really address what you need to do. So that's very sad.
No,
And this is a recent article. It's right off there. I think it was recently revised this year, 2022.
well, at least they said diet and exercise.
Well, I've heard Wilford Brimley, okay, on the TV for decades saying, well, diet and exercise didn't work for me. That's what he says.
Wow.
That's because he never did it right. He never even really tried, of course. And that's given like every American who knows what Wilford Brimley commercials I'm talking about an excuse to just be who you are. Don't be un-American like Mike Young, adjusting his diet, eating all those healthy fruits and vegetables and organic, lean, real foods that are not food as that are food as grown and not food-like products, non-animal products. That's un-American, isn't it? You think so? I'm just saying. It's scary. I thought we would be a lot further along than where we are here in 2022. Well, if you have type 2 diabetes, if you know somebody with type 2 diabetes, if you think you ever might meet somebody with type 2 diabetes, which basically covers everyone out there on the planet and beyond, send them to my book. Anybody who wants to live, because obviously type 2 diabetes is basically a death sentence. We know nobody gets out of here alive, but wouldn't you rather, live your best possible life until like at the very tiny little bit at the end where you got a problem, where you shut down for good? Or would you like to have a setup where it's like nonstop pain and a continual downward spiral for decades? Because if you don't want that, go get my book, Live to 150, LIVETO150.org, 150 chapters, depending upon how serious you are. As I tell most people, all the symptoms Denise read tonight, if I was talking to somebody, I would say, based on what you told me, I'm not a doctor, I don't practice medicine, but if you follow my book, follow the habits, the food especially, chapter 42, then what's going to happen is you're probably going to halt all these conditions from getting any worse, because you know they were getting worse, and you're probably going to reverse them. And if you're fast enough, you may completely reverse them so they don't even exist anymore. That's what I would say to everybody, because everybody works the same way. All people are the same. I don't care what you say about bad genes. It's just bad habits. It's like, I don't want to change. I'm as stubborn as all my relatives. That's like a real American, right? You don't do whatever. I don't care if somebody tells you to do something, don't do it. That's a real American, right?
Yeah.
The doctors know that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's why they figure there's no hope for you. And they just prescribe you pharmaceuticals. That means they've lost hope. And we haven't lost hope though.
No, there's hope.
So thank you for watching. Give us some comments. Let us know something else you want us to talk about in the near future. Read the book, share the book. It's free. If I haven't said that already, we want to get the word out to everybody. And we look forward to talking to you in our next video with our review and comment on the plant-based news. Bye.